Invincible Season 3 is all the way finished, and I gotta say, probably the best season of the show.
Best season finale of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Best fight scene of the show.
Yeah.
Best everything of the show. You ask me one thing you like what's your favorite this or this about the season or this series? I'm probably referencing Season 3's finale. It's phenomenal.
It really just tickles a part of my brain. Like when I read the comics, I don't know if it was 1-to-1, but it was like, it's the same feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like exactly
Yeah.
that perfect touch of helplessness, of fear, of patheticness, of power, of intense. It's just there's so many emotions happening, and you're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
it's this conquest fight.
It's absolutely amazing. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. There was a few haters when they first announced him as the voice caster.
For some reason,
I don't know why. I could see
there
was an argument to where like switch him with Clancy Brown with General Krieg. Maybe Clancy Brown does a better conquest. Whatever the case. Jeffrey Dean Morgan crushes it as Conquest. He crushes it even more because they add some more depth to Conquest in this. We get that whole monologue right before he thinks he's about to kill Mark about how he feels lonely and stuff. Comic Conquest was not... He was a one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
He was, I'm sent to this planet, I kill everyone, I leave. That's me. That's it.
Yep.
And I think that shows a maturity and a new depth to Robert Kirkman's writing.
Yeah.
And he even stated himself, like, way back when he's like, I want to give some more depth. I want to give some more, a second chance, a second brushstroke to some of these characters when I do the show. And it really shows with a character like Conquest. There's so many aspects of him, and especially, spoiler alert, since we know Cecil kept him alive, we may see some other different
it may
parameters
may
behind
end differently.
him and stuff. So super exciting to get into this. We have a bunch of great highlighted characters in this. We get Oliver showing out for a little bit. We get Adam Eve. Of course, we get Invincible. The animation, everything is top notch from this episode.
I think the whole season. I mean,
Yes.
the last 2 episodes definitely had the best animation.
Definitely carried when it came to animation. The story throughout the whole season, though, phenomenal.
I thought the themes and like the emotions and stuff, it flowed very well from episode to episode, and it kind of all ended in a nice place,
With all that being said, my name is Steven.
My name is Hopper.
Welcome back to the Binge Warmers. This is the season finale discussion of Invincible Season 3. But before we get into that, we'll get into the comment from last week's episode that we named Rex is the best written character in Invincible. We got a comment from Matthew K. Kwan. He goes, "Rip Rex." And honestly, that's all that needs to be said. R.I.P. to Rex. He was a great
Rex.
one. And we talk about it, extensively in that video, so go check it out. We probably won't spend a lot of time on it, but hyping up and rebuilding a character from grade A douchebag to one of the shining lights of the series, just to take him from everyone, harsh. Great story writing.
Yeah.
So harsh. He will be missed.
It really punches the death really punches,
Absolutely.
It makes it really
it really
impactful.
Explodes in your face.
What
about Rex? Rex exploded. I forgot about that panel, what it actually said. So I was like, did Robot actually say that? And I was like, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Early 2000s writing, Robot's kind of weird. Robert Kirkman's
Rex is kind of a douche. Yeah,
Rex exploded. I totally believe that was it.
That's so funny.
But yeah, that was the last week's episode. Be sure to comment down on this week's episode. Actually, I guess since we're not doing anything else, please still comment, but we won't be highlighting it. We'll be wrapping up season 3. So thank you for everyone who has come along with us in this journey. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the noti bell for anything else we want to cover. And let's get into this week's episode.
So, Conquest showed up in the end of last episode. Stand ready for my arrival, worm. And then Mark's basically like, I just want to hit something as hard as I can.
It's insane, too, because you see Mark, like, he's so angry, he's so full of rage, he's ready to fight.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near Conquest.
Which is crazy to me because Mark is the most powerful superhero on Earth.
Yes.
But he's still not to Nolan's level. He's probably not to Alan's level. He's definitely not to Battle Beast level.
No, absolutely.
So he's just really struggling in the verse right now, even though he is, and I think even Cecil says this at some point. He goes, well, the best superhero on the planet is struggling to stay alive right now.
Yeah.
So we're really waiting and watching.
It goes to show it's at this point it's more just Mark has to age.
Yeah.
He's only been in this fight for 2 years. Conquest, I think someone said canonically is like 5,000 years old.
He's the oldest looking Viltrumite, maybe besides the coalition leader.
Yeah.
I don't know how old they are necessarily.
Thaddeus. I think, yeah. Someone said it on Twitter. I'll have to fact check or I'll maybe throw it up to see if I can find a legit age online. But with that, you can't teach that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's stuff you have to experience. Yeah, and we've already talked about how Viltrumites, they always climb higher. They're kind of like Super Saiyans. They can always just reach a new peak. There's no upper limit. So, and with someone like Conquest, who's one Viltrumite is sent to take over an entire planet,
Yeah.
he's pretty fucking good at what he does. So, of course, Mark's not going to be able to, last by himself against him,
Great line from Oliver. He says, he's an old fart. We can take him out, And Conquest goes, I'm old, but I'm not weak.
Yeah. Dude, I loved Oliver's entrance into this, that punch into a slide down. It's just so clean, so smooth. Like, yeah, Oliver, okay. Because there are some issues I'll have with him, with his story later on down the line. Sure. And when he was first introduced in this season, I was just like, whiny. He was whiny. He was kind of annoying. He really showed up. And you realize he's just a ride or die for Mark. Yeah. Whatever Mark says, Oliver's going to do for the most part.
They've kind of got their, and it's sort of the same with Omni-Man, but not as much after this stuff. Yeah. But like they've got their, differences. Their, what do you got? Like physiological, what do you call them? Psychological differences, but it's not anything that would like stop them from being brothers or being
exactly. Yep.
It is a little bit weird that they have known each other for maybe like I don't know, a couple months. And
I think about a year by now.
About a year. So, but they're like already ride or die. I mean, that's. I think you can tell Mark kind of wanted a brother, and so now it's nice that he has sort of that figure in his life. But Oliver, man, he does not stack up at all.
He doesn't. He gets a few good punches in.
Yep.
I really thought it was so sick too, just to see like Power Scaler is going to go hard with this.
Yeah.
But when Ollie first flies in to like help Mark, he can't keep up.
No.
Conquest is hitting Mark so fast. It's not even Mark flying. He's getting hit so hard that he's moving so fast. Oliver can't keep up with their fight. He just keeps, every time he gets close, they're gone again. He's like, and it's really good to show that, yes, while Mark isn't as strong as a Viltrumite yet, he's still stronger than pretty much anyone else on Earth.
Yeah.
Because I would say Oliver's probably second strongest on the planet at this point.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's definitely up there. He might be like in the Immortal range. Probably stronger.
Way stronger than Immortal. Immortal's a hack, dude. Didn't even deserve to be a superhero.
No Immortal in this episode, which is nice.
Thank God, dude.
No duplicate.
I sent you that meme where it was, I'll put it on screen, but Conquest shows up and Immortal's like 5 minutes ago, luckily had retired, and it's the Homer Simpson thing where he's like backing into the bush. No, but I loved Oliver's thing. I like, too, we see, since we're on the family track.
Wait, can we talk about the horrible moment where he's just got Oliver above his head, just like
he's just ripping him,
and he's just slowly doing it so he can savor what's happening, and then he's also like explaining in gory, gross details exactly what's going on to Oliver.
Yeah,
your spinal cord is separating. You're gonna feel your skin start to be really tight. And you're gonna just,
if you're still conscious, which Oliver is gonna be, you know, with that Viltrumite blood. Oh, it was crazy. He coughed at one point, and, usually you cough up blood. He coughed up like 15 teeth, dude. His second fight with his second go at Conquest, he flies at him. Conquest just slaps him into the ground, dude.
It's that like meme of I forget who it is, what movie it is, but he's like, da-da-da. It's like classical music playing.
Yeah. I don't know that.
I'll show you.
Yeah, I might have to put it up there if it's funny enough. But yeah, so Oliver... Ride or die, and someone mentioned, I think it's because he has such a loyalty to Mark because he remembers everything because of his bug DNA. So he remembers Mark carrying him, saving him from Viltrumites, trying to save his mom, all that. And, that builds a sense of loyalty, too, to Mark. Like, he risked his life, and he didn't even know who I was. Of course I'm going to be his ride or die, He saved me, essentially. So I like that. I do like, we get Debbie at the end when Mark starts coming back around and stuff, and she was like, you have this real big retrospective, introspective, especially with the things that Mark has to take on. She's like, I'm sorry, like, every day we were so excited. Did you get your powers yet? Did you get your powers yet? And now I wish you'd never gotten them because this is the weight that's been put on your shoulders because of those powers. It's such a deep moment. Someone was like, meanwhile, Paul's in the back like, hey, I'm still here.
I'm just, hopefully I'll be your stepdad.
Yeah. But it is, most people look forward to having powers, but in the Invincible world, I don't know if I'd want to be a superhero, dude.
There's like nothing, every threat seems stronger than every hero.
Yeah.
At least up until kind of this era. We get a couple superheroes from across the world. But even then, like, past this point, I don't know that any of them are that powerful. Britt, I think, is the one standout because he just can't take damage.
Tech Jacket.
Tech Jacket's still pretty good, you're right. Even like the Wolfman, he's still pretty top tier. But like all these like what is Shapesmith? Like I love him to death, and his powers are creative. But like he is not lasting in this universe.
Anything, It's and this is Robert Kirkman, I think, his writing and stuff. Everything is 0 to 100 instantly. Everything is a world level threat, to really feel the sense of urgency. Every threat needs every superhero available.
Sure, yeah.
Which, speaking of, we don't get all the heroes until Conquest.
They just come later.
And then freaking Cecil goes something like, "Would you look at that?" It's like, bro, are you kidding me?
I think he was watching the full fight. I think he was like, well, whatever happens, I'll just kind of let it, play with it.
Mark was literally yelling like, "Cecil, come help me!" And Cecil's just sitting there like, "Hold, hold,
not yet." Yeah.
Wait a second, someone's got to die first.
What's your opinion on Debbie saying stuff like, "Oh, well, make sure to get some good hits in, but then like keep clear with Oliver"?
I think it's her recognizing she'll tell Oliver no.
Yeah.
Oliver will look like he's respecting her decision, go upstairs, and then just leave anyway. At this point, maybe she gives him the ease of mind knowing that he didn't disobey his mom and that she's supportive of him, even though. And it's also like your other son's getting the shit beat out of him. Yeah. You don't know who else can save him but Oliver.
I think that was the main motivation. Was like Mark needs your help. Like he can't really do this without anyone else's help. Thank God he gets Eve to come help him. Yeah. And she barely is able to help at first, at least.
A lot of people were mad that Eve got so tired so quick. You realize the amount of stuff that you have to throw at a fully grown Viltrumite?
Also,
of course she got tired.
The way her powers work from memory, like it's based on what she eats. Like it's based on her energy levels and composition. Oh, really? It's like, if she eats an apple, then she's not going to have as much energy as like a buffet or whatever.
Yeah, obviously.
And she gains, well, I don't know if you can cut this if you want, but she gains a bunch of weight in the comics.
Yeah.
And she burns it all off just by like using her powers. And
yeah. I remember that. And the thing is, people keep like, wow, we finally got her to show out just for her to like fail after a certain amount. It's like, she's fighting a Viltrumite and she's just been passed out for 2 weeks. What do you want from her?
Was it 2 weeks? Or
no, it was like 3 days.
Couple days.
Yeah, something like that.
I do think like that is a standout part of this episode too. Just kind of that. The animation looks great, by the way.
Phenomenal animation, yeah.
But there's a part where like Conquest is he smacks Mark into the ground, and it's like the most beautiful animation I've ever seen.
Yes, absolutely.
Mark's hair is all messy and it's down his face. It's really good stuff. I think the budget was saved for this. We talk about this a lot in anime, and I think I even said, we're probably going to get that chicken fight at the end. There's this concept in animation of the chicken fight. It comes from Family Guy. They did it because they had they had their budget, and their animation they don't really move a lot. In Family Guy, they talk like this, and then maybe they'll blink, and then maybe they'll raise up their hand to say something, and they'll put it back down. Not a lot of animation. Yeah. It's more about the writing in that. So they have this animation budget, and they, the chicken fight where Peter fights the chicken.
Yes, like throughout the whole episode or something.
It's probably like a 15-minute fight of the chicken.
Yeah.
And it's just Peter and this big chicken.
Though, doesn't he?
No, Peter wins, but like the chicken's never dead, so he comes back. But the point of that, and it's like pretty telling, is like they're trying to blow their animation budget, like do a big thing. And so that's kind of what I thought of this. I thought of that when I was watching Conquest. Like, oh, this is a chicken fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. But it sucks too because we talked about we're probably like knowing after seeing the first few episodes, we're like they're probably holding out for the last 2 episodes. And we'll say it. We've said it. I'm not going to preach on it too much. Just give them the resources they need so that every episode is as good to watch as 7 and 8. Because every other one was good to listen to for the story and stuff.
It didn't look horrible. Like it's passable.
Yeah, but that's 9-day difference between those episodes 1 through 6 and then 7 and 8. It's leagues of a difference.
Dude, even after the Conquest fight in this episode, they're at Rex's funeral, and it's just like if you look at the crowd, and it's on screen for maybe like 3 or 4 seconds. It's not very long, but everyone's like in their static pose, like everyone's in their model sheet pose. Yeah, like that episode of Ben 10 where it's like it's Gwen just in her pose, and everyone else is sort of drunk. They just forgot to put her in there. Yeah, that's what this looks like. It's just like we just took the PNGs and put them.
I bet you the writers or the designers and animators and stuff, they finish everything, they sit back and they're like, by the way, we want to put this funeral at the end, kind of wrap it up, and they're like, okay. Calls the wife, I'm doing another double, babe. I'll be back in a second, kind of thing. I think props to all the animators, all the artists that did this final episode.
It's not easy, and there's a new movie in theaters, the Looney Tunes thing, but it's a 2D animated Looney Tunes thing, and it's really well animated. Yeah. And I don't know how long it took them to make or how many people were working on it or whatever, but like that just doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. And stuff like this, the TV budget and stuff, it just doesn't happen on TV. Like really good animation doesn't really happen. Do you think it's better to have a couple years in between and have really, really solid, stellar animation, or would you rather just get them out a year at a time?
I think I'd rather have years in between, but I'm not hating the yearly cadence. I don't think Invincible's bad enough that we can't have a yearly cadence.
I kind of agree with you. I think, but like I do want, like if every episode looked like 8, I think I would take a couple years in between.
Yeah.
And just kind of keep it going.
The problem I have with taking a couple years in between is every show's been doing that recently. And it's not just because of that show, it's because every studio is trying to make every show this blockbuster cinematic event.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're pouring so many resources into 20 different shows. Mm-hmm. And by the time you get the next season, you're like, well, what happened in the last season? You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially with 8 episodes. If I had 2 years in between Invincibles and they were 8 episodes each, I don't think I could handle it. You know what I mean? I don't know how. I talked about this last night with my friends. I don't know how Stranger Things people are still fans. You guys have been watching 4 seasons of Stranger Things for 12 to 15 years now.
Yeah.
The actors have all grown up, 22, 23. They were cast at 11 years old.
It is crazy that they have to like change the story in between seasons because everyone's grown up and
it blows my mind. And it's like a new norm that I don't think should be a new norm.
I agree.
I think animated shows should get a little more leeway because of the animation cost and the effort to do all that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't want any show to be doing 2 to 3 year gaps in between their seasons.
I have a theory that it's because streaming and online content doesn't get as much funding from like bigger corporations as like television does.
Yeah.
Because we talk about Ben 10 a lot, right? Ben 10 was on air looking pretty good like every year with like 12 to 15 episodes a season or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the issue is with streaming. Maybe they just don't have enough money invest into it, or maybe they're just trying to make so much content that like nothing gets the amount of money it needs to kind of flourish. But for some reason, it's this kind of streaming model where you take, a couple years on like 8 episodes or whatever.
Yeah. I was trying to look it up while you were talking. I'll have to look it up in post-production. I like saying that. But Game of Thrones was lauded as one of the best made shows
Looks
for a
good
while.
too.
How many seasons were in between each year, or how many years were in between? I think it was year to year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you can make something on the level of Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, you know what
Breaking
I mean?
Bad for sure.
A year in between, come on now.
Yeah.
You can do it. It can be done.
It's just, I think they don't want to put as much time and effort into it because, it's kind of here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it's streaming it's sort of like the Tinder thing where it's like, oh, I can always have better.
Well,
I'm always looking
not
around.
if you make amazing shit.
I think,
how
I'm with you,
often do people still talk about Breaking Bad? Game of Thrones was talked about for the entire year that the season came out until they got the new season.
Even if that last season was good, it would have changed everything, I think. Yeah. And people would still be talking about it.
Yeah. So, like, you make your shit good, people aren't going to be here today, gone tomorrow with it.
Yeah.
I think because the creators of shows have adopted that mentality, then of course we're going to see that in your TV shows.
Yeah.
You want a social phenomenon for the next 6 to 8 weeks while your thing's going on. You're going to go radio silent until your next season comes out.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's keep it going,
Keep it going. I really think it's just, I hate to be capitalism bad guy, but money is the antithesis of art. I've heard that before. Yeah. And I kind of agree with that because they're trying to get more money more often with a worse product. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Invincible's not bad by any means. Some people claim it's like a clip show, which is so silly.
So bad. Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. There's some parts where they try to skirt by with PNGs floating or whatever. I notice it. Trust me, I noticed it. But for the most part, it's passable.
Yeah.
I think at least. But if you give it time and money and effort, if you let it cook to the point where it needs to cook and get it's ready to be watched, I think that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
Even though I will say, just at making content, I'm obviously one person. I'm not Amazon.
No, you're the end all be all.
Well, yes, I'm the good authority on things.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes limitations make the products.
Yeah.
You
can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Because of how creative you have to be within the confines of what you're doing.
Do it quick. Yeah. Because the original King Kong movie, they did that because, and not even time limitations on that, but technology and limitations. They had to create some certain special effects to make King Kong work as a movie.
There was the Batman show, the Batman the Animated Series and stuff, that Joker, they're like, you can't kill, so they had to do the whole laughing
fear toxin.
Fear toxin. That was completely we got
the scarecrow.
It's the laughing gas thing where they're all smiled. They're dead.
Jokerized.
Yeah, but you can't say that in the show, and it turned out creepier than just Joker killing people.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I mean? So
totally.
they can get creative within, like, sometimes limitations are good.
Yeah.
Because you can, like, reach outside the box. But then sometimes it's not as good.
So there's a definite, there's a yin and a yang there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just maybe give them some more time. If you're not going to give them more people to work on it, give them some more time.
They're not going to do that either. Because they're going to be like, no, you see how much the season just made us? We want one next year. It's like, oh, you're going to give us more? No, do exactly what just happened. Do it again next year. Yeah. Obviously, you've shown that you can work within this budget. We're going to keep it going like this.
You can look this up, too. I think the company that had, like, the toy license for Invincible went under.
Oh, really?
So I think it might be open season on, like, who can make toys for Invincible now.
Nice. That was, and this is what I hate, too, because I was talking to my buddy about it. Amazon's been putting out bangers. Mm-hmm. One of the most consistently bangered, like, stream platforms out there right now. With the boys content, Invincible, Reachers out there I really like. They've, there's a few others I was listening to last night. Gen V. There was a few others. Oh, Fallout. Like, they've got a slated list of like 6 to 7 shows that are like really good.
Yeah.
But my issue is like they're so good, but they're on Amazon. So of course we're gonna have like cut corners here and there when it comes to different things. You know what I mean?
I kind of think they're creator focused. Like I think they get good creatives and they don't like meddle too much in it.
Exactly.
Like a normal television studio would.
Yeah. The only thing they seem to be meddling in is the budget.
Yeah, I don't think they're giving them enough time or money to do stuff. But that's at least they're getting they're on the right track of like we have the right creatives in place and stuff. So. At least that works.
Yeah, but back to the actual episode. Let's talk about Eve a little bit. Kicking ass, dude.
So she comes in with like a robot leg. Her parents are there still, being really obnoxious. God. She gets out of there. She goes and she's really using her powers to the fullest extent, which is making the air more dense. So Conquest has a harder time flying through it. She's doing, a bubble around his head. She's doing water, making him go through water so he slows down. Really like interesting uses of her powers.
Yeah, throwing out spears and maces and shit, like really beating them up.
I saw someone on TikTok say that the sound designers nerfed her because everything sounds like glass.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to feel like she's hitting hard when it shatters in a glass-like consistency. Yeah. I can see that.
I wonder what it is made out of, like what kind of consistency it's got. Or
who knows? That's crazy though. She can make it out of anything she wants.
She could literally.
Wow.
Make it out of lava, just encase them in lava.
Also, I saw some people talking about because I think the show kind of fucked up a little bit where she was like, I got to go to school to learn this stuff.
Architecture, yeah.
If you remember that Eve special, she just saw atoms on a molecular. Yeah. She could see the anatomical structure of everything.
Yeah.
I don't think she needs school. She already, because someone was like, well, maybe for the architecture part.
I think that's the only thing. Yeah, she didn't know that there was like zoning laws and there was like a thing underneath. Like it was that thing she built was like hollow underneath or whatever.
But someone had said something like, she'd have to know the chemical makeup of this, or the constitution of this, or how to get it just right. I was like, she knows that. Did you not watch the special? She knows all of that. From just looking at it, she can comprehend it on a molecular level.
And I guess spoiler alert too, but she knows how the human body works and how to fix the human body. So.
Absolutely.
And she's never had like any reason to know how that works.
No, she just knows that from her talents and being in a lab essentially. So I wouldn't. A lot of people want to shit on Eve. She's a badass.
Yeah,
her potential can go so much higher too.
Did you? How emotional? I mean, knowing she wasn't going to die. How emotional?
Dude,
did you
I was still getting teary-eyed a little bit watching that fight. Because like the whole build-up, I knew what was going to happen, and my girlfriend didn't know. So she was like, "Is Eve dying?" She was like, she gets so like, what's the word?
Like defeatist.
Yeah, it's accepting.
Okay,
the defeated accepting. She'll throw her hands. She'll go, okay, I guess Eve's dying. Just trying to make peace with it. She's like, okay, it looks like they're killing Eve. Someone's got to die, so I guess it's Eve kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing her like spur on the emotional bit. So I'm getting a little teary-eyed knowing what's going to happen. And then when it happens, I'm just sitting there like, I wasn't ready for it.
Ready.
I'm like, I know she's about to come back, but maybe it helps that someone's watching it with me who doesn't know.
Yeah.
And they're audibly reacting to it, but it's still hitting the feels.
I don't think the initial shock and the gore of her like getting donutted like really did much for me. It was when Mark came like flying down and he's like, he basically said, I can't do this without you. I can't live without you. I was like, oh my God.
He's yelling for Cecil and shit.
Dude, that was insane. Cecil!
Steven Yin is a powerhouse, dude.
He's really good. And honestly, like, what's this? Jeffrey D. Morgan does really good in this, too.
The voice acting in this was just phenomenal, which it's always been. We've always praised.
They really get their voice actors,
Yes, absolutely. Which as a yin and yang.
They're celebrities.
Like, we're gonna bring in a bunch of those celebrities. Like, no, don't do that. Okay, you got a solid cast here. Okay.
Oh, Eric Bauza is D.A. Sinclair. He's really good. He's a lot of times he's the voice match guy.
Yeah.
He's in the new Looney Tunes movie as well. He voice matches for Antonio Banderas in the Puss in Boots show.
Really?
And he's like this. I think he's like Filipino or something, and he's like doing this like Spanish voice. It's really funny. If you ever go look up Eric Bauza doing the Puss in Boots voice, it's so funny.
Speaking of him, so we finally get to see his love interest, which we see in the comics as part of his reformation into a model citizen. He's got a wife now. I think he ends up getting a kid.
Maybe.
But we also see him working on the Invincible's reanimate. I can't remember how that goes in the comics.
I feel like they shut it. Oh, I shouldn't say.
Okay, yeah, we won't talk about it. But it has some chilling repercussions to think about in the later seasons. So I'm excited to see how that plays out on the big screen.
D.A. Sinclair, do you think he should be, because he is a monster that killed people?
Yeah, and like terrorized students. Like these were children and at college and stuff. You
know? Do you think he should be allowed to like have a life outside of his work and stuff? Do you think? How do you think that kind of? What is the?
I don't think he has a life outside of work. I think
he's got the girlfriend or the wife.
I think he's at a complex that he gets to go home to. He can't leave that complex except to go to work. I bet you all his shit's delivered. He can't go out at night on the town. He's probably confined to either his job or this house that they've set up for him. I don't think he has anything. Even if he has a house, he may live somewhere on the premises of the GDA.
Didn't they say like dinners, like we can't go to dinner or something?
Yeah, dinner and a movie. But again, I think he just has all those resources at his house. I don't
even
think
still like just having that like level of comfort. It's like if this is a prison thing, make it be a prison thing. Well, if it's like a real life thing and he's like now rehabilitated, that's fine, I guess.
Well, that's the whole issue we get to, not to get too political, when it comes to prison systems. Yeah. A lot of Americans see prison punishment. You know, you did this awful thing. You're going to a place that's almost inhumane to live in.
Should be rehabilitation.
A lot of other countries have these really nice prisons. Like, why is it so nice? They're for criminals. You don't want them to stay criminals. You want them to be rehabilitated. Now, there is an argument and a line to how far a person can go before that rehabilitation even happens. With Sinclair providing such a service to the country, though, you got to give them something, right? You know, I mean, unless you're just doing slave labor, which, you know, you can bring in the arguments for that, but it also comes down to, do you believe people can be redeemed? Do you like Nolan?
Yeah, no, I'm saying people can be redeemed. I'm just saying,
but Sinclair, you're like, oh, lock him up. It's like Nolan did way worse than Sinclair, and we're about to welcome him back with open arms.
Well, he also does. He can't talk about it without
but that's what I'm saying. Is like everyone wants to forgive Nolan so quickly, you know.
Yeah.
Sinclair didn't do half shit bad as Nolan did, you know.
Well, but then again, Sinclair wasn't a superhero for years before that as well.
There's a lot of things I saw even in our own Discord. Like, check out the community. We were talking about like, don't bring Anissa into like Fortnite or whatever. She's terrible. I said, compared to Nolan, who mass murdered an entire planet. I get what Anissa does later in the comics is awful.
Yeah.
But let's not beat around the bush that these other people that we love and we love talking about have done some crazy bad stuff.
Do you think they'll change that in the show, or do you think they'll kind of keep that in?
I don't know. I think there will be a damned if they do, damned if they don't from the audience. If they cut it, a lot of comic people are going to be like, oh, you're cowards for doing this. If they don't cut it, you're going to have a lot of people who aren't ready for reading the comics, or people who didn't like that in the comics are going to be like, I can't believe you kept that in. It's going to be interesting to see on the big screen. I'm not one of those like, I can't wait to see how people react to this. You know, it's just karma farming and stuff.
I think I'm going to spoil a little bit of the comics, but Mark is SA'd by Anissa, and so he's kind of a victim of SA, which you don't really see in media a lot. A male victim of that. Yeah. I think it's interesting.
I think it's written well in the comics. I really do. I think it's been overhyped and almost glorified within the community.
I agree. There's some weird fans who are like, "Oh, why should you do that to me?" Yeah. No, you don't, bro. Yeah. She's like a menace. What are you talking about?
Break it off.
Break it off, bro.
It's also just like, I don't know. It's a bunch of clout. Like, oh, you guys think you love season 1? Wait till you get this. And it's like, bro, what is this gatekeeping weird stuff? You know what I mean? But all that to say, what a great episode.
Conquest fight, man. What about even Conquest himself? I mean, like, there's a moment that is in the comics where it's just Mark, and you can kind of feel the emotion more because it's more, drawn more in depth and stuff. But he's just like, "Stop, please, stop!" Yeah. And it's like, what? Like, how? What does he think is going to happen?
Yeah, people are like, what's he even going to say to argue for him to stop?
And the Conquest is like, are you crazy? I'm not stopping.
Yeah, this is the best day of my life.
He's enjoyed it. I love that. Like, for some reason, the Viltrumites are like, yeah, just take Earth, whatever you got to do. It's fine.
Which we know the reason.
Yeah,
we'll get into when they discuss it later, but.
I just love that he's like, normally I gotta hold back. Normally I can't attack some people, or I gotta do something specific. Not with this planet. And he just like, he basically does an Omni-Man. He runs through the beach and he has Mark's face going through all these people and everything.
Which, let's talk about that for a second. Your Earth has just been attacked by a bunch of Invincibles, not even 5 days ago. What the fuck are you doing on a beach, buddy? Who is on a beach right now?
Well,
Get inside. I'm staying home. I'm telling my boss, I'm sorry, I'm not leaving my house for 2 more weeks. Okay? The dust has just settled. You're at the beach right now eating ice cream?
I mean, people apparently...
Not to victim blame, but come on now.
Yeah, apparently, like
Idiots.
in New York, the night of 9/11, there were people in comedy clubs, like, trying to laugh again. You know what I mean?
True. Laughing is one thing. Going to the beach and trying to enjoy the sun. You just saw how many coastal cities get leveled, and you're like, let's go to the beach.
I would be afraid. I might not leave the house ever again, frankly. If I was in this universe, it might be time to just sit at home.
Yeah. I'd get on. I'd try and find one of the superheroes like, you guys go off planet, right? Can you take me somewhere else? This is just too much for me.
There's just too many weird, inexplicable superhero threats for me to be here. I don't
want, or take me to a secluded island. I ain't got to deal with
something. Dude.
Yeah, but yeah, the fight with Conquest is phenomenal, man. The dialogue of him talking the whole time as he's beating the crap out of Mark.
I really, really love that they made him so like almost. I mean, he's a monster, obviously, and he's got no redeeming qualities. But there's like a hint. There's like a little smidge of sympathy because he's like
he was created like that.
Yeah. I don't even get a name. They just call. I just have a purpose. Oh my god.
My name is Conquest.
Bro, it's like that meme of the guy riding and everything's like gliding on fire.
Yeah.
Like that is some hard dialogue.
Everything that Jeffrey Dean Morgan said in this episode was just peak, man. You know.
The heart bubble. What the hell is that about?
Creepy, dude.
That's like that could have like a million different meanings. It like made my mind go crazy.
Yeah.
He was so
English teacher's going crazy writing the next lessons on this thing.
Yeah. The door was red because of this reason.
Yeah.
But I love that like he emoted on him essentially.
Yeah.
He stopped the fight to be like, I love you, and I love that what you're like letting me do, and I love that, and or just like I love fighting, or just I
love blood.
I love
any of it.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Like
it was so cool too watching Mark fight Conquest, and you're like, man, Mark's going all out, punching through buildings, everything. Conquest goes, okay, well, now I get to hit you, right? Like that's how this goes. Punches him, he lands. You see 5 skyscrapers just collapsing. From the impact.
Insanity, dude.
Dude, what a great episode. What a great fight, dude. I loved it.
Great episode. We get even Mark doing a little hanky-panky at the end there.
I saw someone, and this is another commentary on shows and like public perception and American media. You can see gore all day long. The second you see a nip slip, the crowd is going crazy. People are clutching their pearls because someone said, look, I'm not asking for it. I'm not trying to be a pervert. But I just saw Eve's literal guts out of her body. I saw, what's his name, Conquest's face smashed to a bloody pulp.
Yep.
You're telling me Eve takes her shirt off and we can't see boobs? What's going on there?
It's an animated thing. It's not even real boobs is my thing.
Yeah.
It's not even real boobs.
Which, again, I'm not asking for it. It's just a weird dichotomy of how much gore you can do versus how much nudity you're allowed. I saw, for like Hannibal Lecter or something, there's a scene where someone's butt is showing and they're like, we can't show that. The people who approve this kind of stuff said, slather it in a bunch of blood, and you'll be able to show it. So it's like, gore it up, and then you can show that butt. And it's so weird.
That's crazy to me. Oh, we didn't even mention the end of the fight where he's like bashing his head into him.
Dude.
What is Conquest's little gauntlet made out of, bro? Uru metal? Like, what the hell is that made out of?
He broke that shit.
He did break it.
No matter what it's made out of, it's gone.
It did break his hand or whatever, didn't it?
Yeah. Someone said, hello, you can't work on sentient things. His hand is metal, Eve. Do something about that.
That's a good point.
Make it weigh 1,000,000 tons. You know, drop him out of the sky.
Make it made into scorpions that have venom that will kill a Viltrumite.
No, that's a sentient hopper.
Make it made into a poison barb that the poison can kill a Viltrumite. There's so many. If she could like make the air more dense, she could make mayonnaise. She could fill that room with mayonnaise to where you can't get up.
They weren't in a room.
She could fill the air with mayonnaise. She could make as much mayonnaise as possible, bro. She could turn his mustache into mayonnaise, maybe.
His clothes into mayonnaise.
Oh, they also mentioned sentient matter. So she gets that where she dies and she dies and then she comes back because there's a mental block. And then big laser, dude. What the hell? Big Kamehameha.
Freaking laser.
Big freaking laser, dude.
Dr. Octopus.
Dr. Octagonopus, bro.
Oh
my god, what a fucking meme.
I was thinking about Joctopus from Squid. Something. It's a Disney Channel show. I'll put both of them up.
Anyway, so really, really impactful that he's just slamming his head.
Yeah.
Is this what you wanted?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied?
He goes, I take the good with
the
bad.
God, dude. Crazy villain, bro.
Oh man.
IGN said this was bad. IGN gave this episode a 4, which is crazy.
No one listens to IGN after this.
But they said that
irredeemable.
yes, I mean they've always been a little
Yeah.
funky on their reviews, but I just wanted to say, like, they said that, you know, this is bad because we don't know the villain or we haven't seen the villain before. But the problem is, like, there's a looming threat of the Viltrumite Empire coming to stop him. We know that from Anissa. He was foreshadowed. It wasn't like we just out of nowhere.
The person who comes after me will be way worse.
Yes.
She said that.
And he's the personification almost, or like the culmination of like the Viltrumite power. It's not like, oh yeah, there's this random guy we never met. It's like, yeah, we knew this was coming.
Yeah.
He didn't even get a name. His name is Conquest.
It's your fault for not paying attention.
Yeah,
IGN. Whoever wrote that review, you didn't watch the show correctly.
I'm just saying, whoever, yeah, exactly. You're not
missed
taking
the point. I think they were more of like
yes.
reactionary. If we give it a low thing, people will talk about us as much as they're talking about how good the show is.
Yeah,
it's all about clicks.
You want to do some theories for next season?
Yeah,
we got do some theories for next season really quick. We get a scene with seemingly the devil and Damien Darkblood.
Yeah, very interesting. I love he's like, I'm gonna eat you, and I'm like, bro, you are not intimidating.
You
Damien Darkblood's way more intimidating. John Clancy Brown again.
Yes. Herm. I love him, dude.
I love him.
Even in the show, they give him like a more beefed up role. I'm glad they made him more capable in this, because in the comic it is funny, but he's just like refusing to use like any other resources, so it takes him a longer time. In this show, he's like really capable and he's really good. Cecil even banishes him, so I don't know if we're gonna get like Mark versus the devil, like Robert Kirkman said. He's like, oh, there was an unused plotline where Mark fights the devil. I don't know if that's coming,
I
or
hope
if it's
we get something like that.
Agreed, or if it's like there's a minor spoiler for Guardian of the Globe. There's a character called Set who seemingly prays to the devil, or is the son of the devil, or something with the devil, or maybe just some other entity. But he said something about someone with a dark heart. You think that's Mark, or like a conquest thing?
It could be Conquest since he's locked up, or it could be Mark since now he's telling Oliver like, I have to kill people. Like it's not that his not that his heart is dark, but it's that's what we think. But at the same time, talking about like the moral necessity of killing sometimes. You know?
Yeah. And they also said like it's something that, or it could be like someone unnamed. It could be like some random thing. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Would you like that Mark flips and he's okay with killing now?
Yeah, I mean, we see it for a while. We'll see it in this next little bit with the Sequids. We'll see a chilling moment with Mark. That it's very interesting. I hope they elaborate more on it, because in the comics it was like one panel where Robot even says you shouldn't have done this, that, or whatever.
They kind of brush past.
Yeah, and then it's just kind of over. I hope they take the episode and kind of discuss what happened with Mark. These impactful things need to stay impactful within the episode that they're going on in. So
100% agree.
Super excited for that. I can't wait. This is where my memory gets a little foggy with the events of the comics, so I don't know exactly what we're going to get in this next season. But if we get a certain thing, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm got a lot of excitement going into season 4.
Yeah.
Season 3 was phenomenal. I hope it just gets better. I hope animation again was my only real problem with it, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world either. Like I
was still tuning in every Thursday. Yeah. Not on my freaking tippy toes waiting.
And we're almost too analytical now. I think it's fine. Like a show can be a show. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't have to look amazing every single episode. Like as long as the important parts look good.
When I see people nitpicking the show on Twitter, I'm like, okay, you're obviously doing this because 1, you've made it your job, and 2, you're out of content.
3, someone's told you to say that. Like I don't think if this kind of content era we live in was so prevalent, people wouldn't be caring as much. Yeah. That's just my opinion though.
Absolutely. But enjoy the show for what it is. It was great. It was a great season, great episode. I can't wait for season 4.
Check out our other content, guys. We're talking about Ben 10 a lot. We're gonna wrap up Alien Force soon, so we'll probably go on to something different after that. And then we'll do other videos in the meantime. Just hit the little subscribe and the notification, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.